Hi, my name is Nalani Butler, and I'm with BBPC Events here to spotlight one of our featured authors for our South Carolina Book Lovers Expo. Here we have David H. Brown. Hi, David.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. So to get started, how about you tell me a bit about yourself?
Well, I was born and raised here in South Carolina, in Williamsburg County. I graduated from Kingstree High School in 1962. I studied at the Citadel, uh, transferred to Clemson University, where I graduated in 1966. Worked in industry a few years and got an opportunity to go back to pharmacy school, which I did, and I graduated from the Medical University of South Carolina College of Pharmacy in 1973. Uh, and I just retired a few years ago after 50 years in pharmacy.
Wow.
I have a daughter that lives in Charleston. She has three daughters. I have a son that lives here in Florence. He's an attorney. He was a circuit court judge for a few years, for about 15 years, but he decided to step down and go into private practice. My daughter in Charleston, she is a pharmacist, and she works for Epiance, which is a skincare company based out of Boise, Idaho.
Nice, nice. Well, it sounds like you have a big family, very family oriented, and a career in pharmacy. So what led you to becoming an author and writing books?
Uh, when I finished high school, my grandfather gave me a weapon, and he told me a part of a story that took place in 1869 and 1870, where his father was challenged to a duel in a dispute that originated over a competition for a young lady who ended up being my great grandmother. And by the way, I still have that weapon that he gave me. It is a beautiful work of art.
Nice. So how did that get you into writing books? Was it the storytelling that you were interested in?
Well, after he gave me the weapon in 1960, 62, somewhere in there, I put it aside and proceeded on with my life. In 1984, I got a call from a lady that I had known for years, a lady that grew up in the same small country church that I did. I had known her all of my life. And she asked me to come visit her, that she had something to share with me, something she thought I would find very interesting. And of course, I didn't waste any time in getting to her. And during our visit, she pulled out a pamphlet that had been printed, published in 1870, that my great grandfather had written, describing what was going on between him, Sidney McGill Brown, and this gentleman that challenged him. His name was John James Martin.
Full circle moment. So you read the pamphlet and decided you wanted to write too?
Yeah, it is a fascinating read in itself. The challenger demanded that my great grandfather name a time and place for them to meet to settle their difference. I have quotations that he sent. If you would like for me to read them, I can do that.
Sure.
His exact words, dated January the 10th, 1870, were, "I now demand that you name the time, place, and weapons by which means of which you will render satisfaction for injuries done, which is customary among gentlemen to accord. My friend, W.M. McCrae, will hand you this note and will confer with your second and arrange the preliminaries of our meeting, which I desire shall come off as soon as practicable."
Yeah, well, that certainly sounds like an interesting story and probably one that's interesting to find and read later, especially inspired by family. So I could definitely see how that would get you into wanting to storytell too.
Can I read my great grandfather's response to that letter?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Dated January the 11th, 1870. It went as follows: "I therefore, without hesitation, accept your challenge and name the time Saturday, January the 22nd, instant at 12 o'clock midday. The place, North Island at the lighthouse, 16 miles south of Georgetown, down Winyore Bay. And the ordinary dueling pistol as the weapon, when, where, and with which I propose to accord and render to you satisfaction, which is usually practiced among gentlemen.
Wow.
I have documentation where Sidney, my great grandfather, and his friend Thomas Duke went to Georgetown, made that 40-mile horse ride from Williamsburg County to Georgetown on Friday, January the 21st, rented a room at a boarding house, and got up Saturday morning, paid for the charter of a steamboat called the Martha Washington to take them to the Georgetown Lighthouse to meet this challenger, John James Martin.
Interesting. So you kind of followed this story.
Yes, yes.
Nice. So how does your story play into that? Like, how does it follow? Like, how does your story show the inspiration from what you were inspired by?
Well, since it was my great grandfather, in a dispute in a gun battle involving my great grandmother. By the way, they were married after all of this, after the gun battle and after the murder trial. My great grandfather was arrested, charged with murder after the gun battle, in which he was severely wounded and crippled for life. But this challenger was killed. And my great grandfather was arrested, charged with murder, and put on trial. The trial was moved from Williamsburg County because Williamsburg County was kind of small, really, compared to other counties. The trial was moved from Williamsburg County to Charleston County, and that trial took place in June of 1870. But prior to that, after my great grandfather was arrested, he was imprisoned in Williamsburg County, and during the time he was in prison, the judge agreed to a change of venue where the trial was moved from Williamsburg County to Charleston. And he was, according to tradition, he was imprisoned at the old Charleston City Jail, which, by the way, is still there. It is in downtown Charleston, and it is within walking distance of St. Michael's Episcopal Church, where during the Revolutionary War, George Washington worshiped once. And during the Civil War, Robert E. Lee worshiped there once.
Interesting. Well, I feel like I'm learning a lot of history here.
Yeah, it's a lot of history in that book.
Mm-hmm. So what about it inspired you to write?
Well, over a period of time, everything about this story slowly fell into place. It seems like the story just kept crying to be told. And I felt it was my obligation, not only my obligation, but a legacy I could leave to my children and grandchildren, telling about this incident, which at the end has a absolute universal moral principle, and that is what arrogance, vanity, pride, obstinance, jealousy can do when allowed to go unchecked. Brings to mind Proverbs chapter 16, verse 18, which says, pride goes before destruction.
Interesting. Well, certainly an interesting message. So I guess your book then is telling this story based on the pamphlet.
Yes. Yes.
Interesting. All right. Well, I know you said that the story seemed to fall in place. What do you think was the hardest part about writing the story, though, for you?
What was the hardest part?
Yeah.
During those, from 1984, when I taught with Miss Minnie, up until 2015, between working, raising my children and educating my children, Uh, I set out to gather as much information as I possibly could about the incident. I went to the South Carolina Library at the University of South Carolina, the South Carolina Historical Society in Charleston, the Charleston County Library, Three Rivers Historical and Genealogical Society in Lake City, Williamsburg County Museum and Historical Society in Kingstree, the Kingstree Library, the Williamsburg County Courthouse, Charleston County Courthouse. I mean, every chance I got on the road, and I went to these places trying to find information. And those are just some of the places. I went to a lot of county museums and county libraries, Marion County, Chester County, Sumter County, and those. And that was the hardest part, getting all this information researched and documented so I could turn it over to a publisher to get it published.
Right.
But it was a, like I said before, it is a labor of love.
Right. And it is a nonfiction story. So gathering all of that history and everything was really important, I'm sure. And you said this was a work that took about 40 years, you said?
Yes. Now, it is a historical fictional novel based on that true story.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think the amount of work that you put into it shows the dedication that you had to writing the story and writing it well. Are you looking to write any other future works, or is this it?
I was thinking about writing a sequel to it, but I'll be 80 years old in a few weeks, and I'm not going to live another 40 years, of course. But if I get a chance to finish the sequel, then I'll get it published. But as it stands right now, I'm just getting started on that. And like I say, I really doubt that I'll ever get it done.
Yeah, well, that sounds fair. Well, thank you for coming. If possible, could I ask a few fun questions about your writing process just to get to know a little bit more about you?
Absolutely.
All right. One question I do have is while you're writing, what is like your writing kryptonite? The one thing that always distracted or derailed you during your writing process?
Well, my children growing up, the sports they were involved in, uh, the education they were involved in. Uh, uh, by the way, my wife and I have been married 59 years.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
So I had to devote some time to her, of course, when I wasn't in the writing process. Uh, every chance I got, I would go to my library, and I would close the door, and I would be there for hours at the time, concentrating and writing. The book is about 290 pages, and some weeks I didn't get but 5 or 6 pages written. So it's just I'm just real thrilled. I have been able to speak at many county libraries, county museums, county historical societies. Um, I was even able to speak at Francis Marion University because one of my major contributors is a professor at Francis Marion, and it's amazing how I came to know him because I was getting anxious over the years that my time was running out on this earth, and I wanted to get this story told before I passed on. So I went out to Francis Marion University thinking that I could speak to someone, anyone, male or female, that would help me write my story. I talked to 2 or 3 professors, and none showed any interest. But I was preparing to depart Francis Marion University when I ran into this professor Mark Blackwell, who is a professor of religious studies. And with graciousness and patience, he agreed to sit down and listen as I told him part of my story. And ever since I told him part of my story, he has encouraged me over the years to continue. Every time I would get discouraged somewhat, I would talk to him and he would encourage me to continue on to get it written. And after it was published, he made arrangements with me to make a presentation at Francis Marion University regarding my book,
Nice. And
which
it,
was which was a thrill. And by the way, it's interesting. Now, this is um, nonfiction in the book. There is an interesting fact, a couple of interesting facts in there about General Francis Marion, about his connection to me, the author, and to Williamsburg County as a whole. Now, my family has been in Williamsburg County since the early 1700s, so we go way, way back.
well, again, congratulations on getting this book done. It seems like it took a lot for you. And again, you seem very dedicated, and it's nice to have those people along the way that help you stay on track. What's another thing that you think helped keep you motivated during the writing?
Uh, well, like I said, if I ever got discouraged, something would come about to encourage me, like uh, that phone call from Miss Manny Callahan to get the ball road started in the first place. Um, and I do have a ghostwriter. The ghostwriter came in when I was a little discouraged at the beginning. The way I met her is an absolute mind-boggling event. How that came about.
Hmm.
Uh, I was doing some relief work at a rehabilitation hospital, some pharmacy relief work, as needed work at a rehabilitation hospital here in Florence. And I went to visit a friend there who had recently had surgery. And when I went into the room to visit this friend, there was another lady in the room, and she was introduced to me by my friend as her sister, a professional writer. And
Wow.
when I heard those words, professional writer, a light bulb came on in my brain. I says, maybe, just maybe, here's someone who can help me put into words all this information that I have. So after telling her just some of my story, she agreed to help, and we worked on that together over the years. And well, oh, not many years, because after we got started on it, um, she decided that she wanted to withdraw from the story. She said it was my story, and she just wanted to be anonymous. And of course, I granted her request. So she is anonymous, and she helped me a lot. She really did. In fact, I don't know whether it would have gotten written if it had not been for her.
That's nice. Well, I know author to author that having that support system and having people that come along and help along the way is really appreciated and just necessary to kind of get your work off the ground.
Mhm.
A lot
So,
of times when I write, I have my family kind of like read over it. My dad helps me with publishing. So yeah, having that sort of system is really important, I know. Um, a last fun question. What is your favorite writing snack, or what was your favorite writing snack?
writing snack,
Yes.
a glass of milk and a chocolate chip cookie.
Yes, that sounds delicious.
So what do you have published?
Oh,
I,
I'm a
I,
children's book author.
all right, okay,
Yeah, so I have 7 children's books currently published, um, and we independently publish. I co-write with my sister.
okay, very good. So uh, hope to meet you maybe on July the 27th at the event.
Yes, I will definitely see you there. Um, and I hope to see you all there as well. Again, we will be at the South Carolina Book Lovers Expo in Columbia, South Carolina on July 27th. Anything you'd like to leave the audience with?
I would just like to say I'm looking very forward to being there, to meeting other authors, and telling about my book,
Great.
which, like I said before, is a legacy of love.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for coming. It was great getting to know you. And again, we hope to see you all soon.